graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Hey, do we have any wafer cookies? Ooh, boy. Looks like you guys have been checking out alternate lives and realizing you don't have it as good, huh? That's too bad. You know, me and Morty are having a blast. We just discovered a show called Fondlers. I mean, I don't want to rub it in or anything, but you guys clearly backed the wrong conceptual horse.
So now what do we do?
The show Ball Fondlers sounded kind of interesting.
Dad!
What? They're having fun in there. What do you guys want from me?
Oh my. Hello, my fellow Earthlings. This is Hikaru Sulu. You may remember me as the helmsman for the Starship Enterprise. You know, I don't usually listen to podcasts, but when I do, it's two strangers, one podcast. Chris and Paul make me feel like I have a tribble in my pants. Set phases to sexy. Suck it, Shatner.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And let me see, to quote the great, because we tend to talk a lot about comic books on this show, comic book movies actually, even though this isn't really officially a comic book movie podcast. Stan Lee had said recently at a convention, when asked if online comics would replace actual books, Stan Lee said, "Comics are like boobs. They look great on a computer, but I'd rather hold one in my hand."
Yes.
I think that's how we start the show.
That is a good way to start that show.
All things
This show,
geek.
anything.
And, you know, just like I said, you know, anyone who's listened to the show before, you know, Paul and I, you know, we're geeks, self-proclaimed geeks, very proud geeks. I think just yesterday on the internet, I saw a bunch of people saying that it's National Geek Pride Day.
Sweet.
Which, you know what, to me, every day is Geek Pride Day, God damn it. I mean, I squeeze my fat ass into, you know, Superman t-shirts and, you know.
Oh, yeah. I cream my fucking pants every time I see somebody with a Toonami Faithful podcast shirt. I'm like, yes. Give me a second. Let me go over in the corner. Fat.
And with that, part of geek culture is going to conventions.
Yes.
Which is kind of like how we met. We met at RockCon, Rochester's convention. But I believe you just got back from MomoCon, and of course I keep teasing you and calling it HomoCon.
I'm going to kill you. I swear to God.
But no, I am not homophobic. I love gay people. No,
he does.
A little too much, I guess. But no, well, I mean, one of my idols, Jody Schaefer, you know, artist and animator of Megas XLR, is, you know, openly out of the closet, and I'm friends with him and his husband, boyfriend. I don't know exactly what I think he calls him his definitely his boyfriend, but I don't know if they're officially married. But, you know, his partner or whatever, Bells Jordan. So, you know, I'm not homophobic. Some of my best friends are gay. No. But when you say it like that, you sound even more homophobic.
Yeah, you're just making yourself look bad.
Well, no. Well, when I was a kid, and not to make this into a whole gay conversation, but it's gay, man. No, I remember the very first time my mom has a cousin that's gay, and I was very young. I would say about 5 or 6, and no, it's not what you're thinking. So, you know, my mom introduced me to her cousin or whatever, and she had told me, she goes, "He's gay. Do you know what that means?" And at 5 years old, I really, you know, that's the first time I ever heard the phrase. I mean, it was, you know, I was 5, 30 some odd years ago. So I had said, "No, I don't know what that means." And she goes, "He likes boys the way a lot of boys like girls." And I said, okay. And maybe because it was introduced to me that way through my mom and through like, okay, this is like my mom's cousin is a family member. I mean, I guess that's made me, you know, a lot more tolerant or a lot more just understanding, because, you know, you explain to a 5-year-old, you know, something like that. It wasn't like this big heavy topic in my house. It wasn't like this big, like, you know, and my parents, even though my father was very conservative when it came to stuff like that. I mean, my father never said, you know, anti-gay things or whatever the case may be. I mean, in other issues, my father is very, very conservative. But
right.
I guess maybe through my mom or whatever, I was just, you know, I guess lucky enough that it was in the family. So, you know, I'm not all bent out of shape about stuff, you know, when it comes to homosexual stuff. I make a joke out of it now because that's just because I'm an asshole. It's more being an asshole than homophobic. And actually, I mean, I know we usually talk about geeky stuff, but they had just our mayor, which I know you're not a fan of, and I can understand the argument against it. Recently here in Rochester, transgender people or people who want to be transgender.
I love how this turned into this kind of topic. Okay.
Yeah,
continue.
well, I mean, let's free associate and kind of go right into. I mean, before we get into all the geeky stuff, and we tend to have like a little more serious stuff in the beginning of the episode before we start talking about guys in tights wrestling each other.
Oh God, shut up.
This is not a gay podcast.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
When fucking superherohype.com is covering MomoCon, you know damn well that that's a fucking big con. So continue.
Okay, no, we'll get to it in a second. I mean, let's.
Oh, by the way, there was a guy actually dressed up like Batman, and he actually looked like Batman too. So,
well, this. Let me just get on my soapbox here for a second. No, well, basically here in Rochester, they've said city workers through our mayor, which people understand. I understandably, some people are a little vexed, saying that. Basically, the city medical coverage is starting to cover if someone wants to go through a sex change operation. And of course, there is the little bit of part of me that like says like, oh, how could you be so selfish? I mean, surgery like that is not cheap. There is a part of me, that the little teeny tiny part of me that is conservative. It's like, oh, our fucking tax dollars are going to go to this bullshit, and I'm being totally honest with you guys. If anything on the show, I'm always totally honest. But the other part of me that's like, and look, I'm a fat fuck. I worked for the state for 10 years. I had the gastric bypass surgery. And of course, I mean, surgery, whenever we look at the numbers of medical stuff and operations, stuff like that, they always blow up the price. I mean, if you ever look at your bill from the insurance companies, from your doctor's office, like you go to the doctor's appointment and they want like, the doctor's, the appointment was $150 and they didn't take any blood. They didn't do anything. They didn't, you actually sat in the office. The doctor probably took your temperature and blood pressure and you spoke to the doctor like a routine checkup kind of a deal. And then you get the bill, and for those people unfortunate enough not to have insurance, that they have to pay that out of pocket, it's like $150. I sat in the room for 5 fucking minutes. The doctor talked to me, and then said, okay, I'll see you in another year. I'll see you another 6 months. Yeah. These sex change operations are ridiculously expensive. My gastric bypass surgery on paper cost $160,000. Now
I don't know how we're relating this to MomoCon at all.
Well,
I know. I'm sorry, but it's just like
you'll get to speak in just a second. Let me get my political statements out there, and then we can get back to the nerdy shit. No, with that being said, like I said, I let myself go, and I'm back to being a fat fuck. But that, if someone truly is unhappy with how they were born, if you are a guy and you feel like you should be a woman, or if you're a woman and you feel like you should be a guy, like I said, who the hell am I to kind of point fingers and say stupid shit? Because like I said, I had the gastric bypass myself, so, the human part of me, that's like, what, people should be healthy. I mean, it's better than like, someone not feeling uncomfortable in their life and then fucking, killing themselves or something like that. Right. So, like I said, the part of me says, oh, why is our tax money going to this? But the other part of me says, you know what, people should be happy. I mean, we try to be a little more open-minded these days. So I'm all for it, just because if it makes life a little more livable on this planet and we're all fucking miserable bastards, I say go for it. So that was I'll get off my soapbox for now. I mean, that's the whole point of having a podcast. I give my little rants like this. But let's get back to the nerdy stuff. You went down to, was it Georgia? No.
Atlanta, Georgia, yes.
Atlanta, Georgia for MomoCon. I won't call it HomoCon anymore.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. But anyways,
you went down to Georgia
yes.
for MomoCon. Now, of course, when I think Georgia, I mean, the first thing I think about is like William Street, right?
Yes, William Street, which is Adult Swim. Yes,
Adult Swim's, basically their animation studio headquarters
/ whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So. I mean, I left here, let's see, I got on a plane at 6 a.m. on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why did I do that? Because there were some panels going on, so I wanted to make sure I was there early enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, I met up with Jose and everybody, and, we started going around to different panels, One of the things that people don't understand, like, when you run a fan site, the best way to get your fan site to be popular is to, market yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was especially on Saturday that we went around to like Funimation and Viz's industry panels and introduced ourselves. And I actually have to email people too when I get a chance finally. But basically, that's we had a lot of fun. Jose was interesting behind the scenes, as everybody will see in the behind the scenes video. And the campaign that we ran was successful. We actually got all the money that we needed, and
Yeah, because you guys started an Indiegogo page to get
Correct.
better cameras. So when you do events like this, because I'm pretty sure there's more conventions in the future.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you really go and if you do a little research online, once the weather gets a little warm, like this time of year, May through like frickin' October, there is like literally, if you had the money to travel around the country, there's literally like a freaking convention every weekend, And then like even like this past weekend with Memorial Day, there was also another major convention down in Texas,
Yes.
kind of competing with.
There's one in there was one in Puerto Rico. That's where Steve Bloom was. That's why he couldn't be there. So
Man, but come on,
I like
Puerto Rico, man. Puerto Rico, and you go to the beach, maybe a little.
So well, basically, a lot of people don't understand. Like, we go down there to record the Toonami panel, which is, actually it was huge this year. I've never seen it like that packed with people before. Excuse me. And like, it was, first of all, the funniest thing to see was, all these people lined up for t-shirts. Like, I've never seen a huge line for fucking t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
They were handing out free t-shirts.
Was this for Toonami t-shirts or Toonami Faithful?
Yeah, they had Toonami t-shirts, not Toonami
Okay.
Faithful podcast t-shirts. So, there was that. And then all of a sudden, while we're walking around the con, we had fans there. We had people that were wearing the Toonami Faithful podcast shirt. It was just incredible to see that, because, it's one thing to give people shirts or to sell shirts and people buy it. It's another thing to have, your shirts actually worn by people and seeing them in your t-shirt, It's very
because
humbling. It's very fucking humbling.
When you go to a con, like, I don't know, when I've been to the couple cons that I've been to, if I go to something that I would consider quote unquote nerdy, or even like if I go to like a concert, I take a lot of effort into thinking what shirt am I going to wear, because I want people.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like, if you're not going to go the full route of cosplaying, you want to wear a shirt that says,
Right.
This is what I'm into. Feel free to ask me about this. So you see a guy, let's make it super duper vague. You see a guy like with a Nightwing shirt, and you go, oh, Nightwing. I love Nightwing. Okay, let's, boom, boom, boom. Let's have a conversation about Nightwing, or whatever,
Right.
And that's like, I find that, and of course, hopefully you're not a poser, you're wearing a Nightwing shirt and you're like, oh, I don't know anything about Nightwing. I just bought this shirt.
There were
because
some
it's cool.
that were dressed up like Nightwing. Some did a good job. Some failed miserably, but
Nightwing.
you saw there
should
was
dress up like
everything.
Nightwing.
Everything was at MomoCon. You saw like the Gold Ranger. Somebody was dressed up as Gold Ranger, which was a really good costume, I add. You had a lot of Soul Eater. You had a lot of no, it wasn't a lot of Soul Eater. You saw a lot of Attack on Titan, which is very popular now. Obviously, a Toonami show. So, it's awesome to see how these people dress up. And there were some good people. I put something up on the Toonami Faithful Instagram. Like, there's some really good people that dress up in these costumes. So, it gets interesting. But
Were there people dressed up like the Naked Titan, that big?
Yes, there was one person. It's kind of funny to see that too.
Because I would dress up like that and then like have like toys, like hanging toys around you to be like those guys with the whatever the hell they call those, the harpoon sword ejector things or whatever the hell they're called.
Well, basically we go up there to basically just, that's kind of our yearly thing, to just like kind of have fun with the website, like come together and, just fuck around and just have fun. And this time around was a lot more fun because I think we were used to what we were going to have to go through. And it made it a lot easier to do it this year, and we actually set up interviews too, instead of fucking doing shit at the last minute. So, everything went according to plan. Everything went well. Obviously, there are things
the Toonami Faithful showed. Who else from the Toonami Faithful podcast were there?
Jose was there. Jose was there, obviously, because he has to record everything and edit. Which, as we speak, he's in the process of uploading the Toonami panel. And for those of you that have probably seen the Toonami panel from fans, okay, that's great. But here's the problem with that: it's not the official one. And if you saw the last one last year, you'll understand why it's official. Because we get the intro. And I've been told possibly there's something special in there. So I would suggest that while, it's awesome to see it before the official one comes out, you need to see ours, because ours is, well, awesome. And you'll see why I like Jose. I'm trying to think. So there was actually, I mean, we met so many people. Like this year, you know, we met. There was some. Come on, I am single, I guess. You know, we were waiting for an interview, and I can't talk about it because I don't want anybody to know about what interviews we did just yet. But we were waiting for interviews, and then these girls took over for these guys. You know, we got talking, and you know, it was just, you know, they were really cool. They were awesome. Like, I was just like, you know what are you guys doing tonight? I'm the one that fucking said this. Jose and Jim are over there just going, oh, I'm tired. I'm like, fuck you, we're going to get a drink. Well, Jose's like, I gotta go get shit faced. I'm like, well, okay. Well, I was like, well, why don't we take these girls up with us? Oh, okay. So
yeah, I mean, you got girls. I mean, girls at a comic book convention, which, you know, is becoming a more, you know, normal thing. You know, I mean, you know, since I'm so much older, you know, that it's like that I was used to not being a thing. But, you know, at least like, because, you know, it is like, you know, if you meet some girl on the street and you say, oh, you know, I'm into this and I'm into that, you know, sometimes you kind of get like, you know, even if the girl's kind of understanding, they still kind of have like that little like blank look like, okay, you know, but at least like if you're at a comic book convention, you know, you got someone that's like, oh, you know, here's someone that gets it. You know what I'm saying? Here's someone that understands the passion and understands the, you know, the dedication. You know, I love Attack on Titan. I can love you too.
Well, no, it wasn't like that.
I want to show you my space dandy.
You know, well, I mean, I want to show you my space. I like that line. I'm gonna use that next year. Hey, girl, I want to show you my space stand. Yeah, come here, baby.
I mean, at least, like, you know, and it's kind of like, once again, you know, I equate it to kind of like going to concerts where obviously if you go to a concert or you go to, you know, any kind of thing like that, there's a mass group of people that are there obviously for one reason. That already breaks the ice. You already have, you know, a million things you can talk about because, boom, you already obviously have something in common because you're all in the same place.
Right.
And that's fucking awesome.
So, I mean, and I have a lot of blackmail pictures of Jose. Nobody will ever see because he'll kill me. But
booth babes and stuff.
No. I'll show you later. You'll laugh. Okay. Jose's probably listening to this like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Paul, I swear to God. But anyways, so I mean, we took these girls up to the one bar. You know, we just had a really good time. You know, and I want to thank them. You know, the one girl's name is Meg. And actually, she has family here in Rochester. And I said to her, I was like, if you come into town, you need to hang out with me because
Meg. No, I'm sorry.
And I was like, you need to hang out with me when you come up here. So, so if she comes up, you can hang out with us, by the way, because you're gonna like her too. She's pretty cool. She's a really cool girl. And then the girl that I'm talking to is named Shelly. See, I told you I was gonna mention you on the podcast, Shelly.
Hi, Shelly.
Chris doesn't know you.
Yeah, I haven't met you, but
I mean, she's, you know, it's, you know, we've just been going back and forth. You know, we've been having a friendly conversation, and you know, it's just been interesting to actually have somebody to talk to that, you know, has been through cons like, you know, me and, you know, Jose and everybody, because, you know, it gets. You know, you can talk to people that haven't been through cons before, but it's a different story when you actually have like people that are like, yeah, we're into this, yeah, you know. So, and no, I'm not going to go any further about what I'm talking to her about, so get off of me.
Well, it's like, I mean, you know, when I poured my heart out to Monkey Nuts and then she...
Oh, God.
No, but it's, you know, she was already in a relationship. I didn't know in a relationship.
I'll talk to you about that later, by the way. But anyways,
and
no.
If we weren't recording this so early, we're going to do an episode with Monkey Nuts one day. It's only because we're recording this earlier than we usually do. And right now her schedule, she even if we said, okay, we're definitely going to have her on this particular episode. Right now we're recording a little too early for her. I believe she's still at work. And then also, I mean, back when I was chatting her up, like I thought I had a chance. She had mentioned that she doesn't have a fast internet connection. So I was kind of like, I wonder if we could even do an episode with her if she doesn't have a fast internet connection, because I mean, you know, you and I both have cable modems, and sometimes our shit craps out. So, I mean, hopefully her like DSL setup isn't that bad, but we will one day have an episode with Monkey Nuts. I promise. Well, I told her I want her on the show, you know, even though she broke my heart. No, I can't say she broke my heart. She did nothing wrong. I totally just like, you know, started chasing a girl that I had no idea about. But that being said, we're going to do an episode with her one day. Just unfortunately, we just happened to be recording this one a little earlier earlier for her schedule, so she couldn't even be on the show, even if we had said, hey, come on the show. And then of course we still got to do the goddamn Batman episode, Son of Batman DVD commentary. We're gonna fucking do it one day, goddamn it. You still there, Paul? Oh, okay.
I'm still here. Yes, I'm in the process of doing 50 things at once as we do a podcast. That's the way it always fucking works on this goddamn place. But yeah, so
So basically, you're at MomoCon. You had, obviously you met some cool people.
Yes, I did.
Which is the fun of going.
And she's also like my age, so it's just like she gets it. And to have somebody like that's a fun person, that's pretty awesome. So, I just wanted to give her a shout out real quick, and she's probably blushing right now, so that's fine.
Welcome to the show. Come on out.
Welcome to be mentioned on the show.
Yes.
Anyways, so, and then the other thing that was cool was, there's a voice actor by the name of Bryce Peppenbrook that, he was there. He was one of the featured guests at the con. And, basically, I knew he was going to do it because he does it at a lot of the cons that he goes to. He's like, you know what? We're going to have a Toonami party. So we all met up at a bar, Toonami party.
Mm-hmm.
We after the Toonami panel, we did something that I can't talk about, and then we met the Toonami crew in a secret location as we always do, and talked and conversated, which that conversation will never get out. Nor will I talk about those kind of conversations, but I might tell you something later, Chris. Well, if you have my ESP, then you know what I'm talking about here, Chris. But anyway,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's done voices on Attack on Titan.
Right. He did Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, which is gone from Toonami now, but it was on there. Blue Exorcist, and he's on a couple other shows that are coming
Bleach,
up.
I'm just saying, according to this, he's on Bleach. He's
really?
Hanakari. I don't know if that's it. It only has him down as one episode, but
yeah.
Just to say, hey, I was on fucking Bleach. I mean, come on. I don't even watch anime, and I know that shit.
Dude, just to say he's on freaking Attack on Titan, he's
Attack on Titan. Yeah, and according to his IMDb, he's done a bunch of video games: Saints Row the Fourth. What was the other one? Call of Duty Ghosts, which is still big right now. It says Pokemon, but that's Pokemon Origins, which is a TV show. I'm just saying holy shit, this guy has a pretty impressive what's the word I'm looking for? Resume. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was really fun. And what I said to the Toonami guys is, I was like, you guys should come up to the party. They're like, I don't know, we'll see. They're like, no, I think we're just gonna get a drink here and just leave. And I was like, all right, well, if you guys come up, we're upstairs. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the Toonami party, turn around, and all of them are right there. I'm like, oh, all right. Twitter. I'm like, guess who's here at the party?
Was my other girlfriend, Sheremy Lee, there?
Sheremy Lee was there.
Ha, damn.
And
I should have went with you, goddammit.
And you know what? I don't usually say this about Sheremy Lee, but wow. I don't know what she did that day, but she was looking really like...
She's a cutie.
Wow.
I mean, and I'm not okay. I mean,
dude, I'm gonna send you a picture of her, and you're gonna sit there and go, "I need to go find this chick."
That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean,
she's
like one of my little internet crushes,
Yeah. Dude, she became a crush that day. I was just like, why do you have to be married? Why do you gotta be like this? But Sheremy Lee is in all seriousness, she is one of the nicest voice actresses.
And cool as hell.
And she's really cool.
As hell. That's like, I mean, coming from me, that's like a super compliment.
I'm really glad that I finally met her in person. We had so much fucking trouble. I by the way, I did tell her about that fucking the thing with that con we were trying to go to interview her at that we can't talk about. Yeah, I mean, she's like, really? She's like, see, they don't tell me those kinds of things. So I was like, yeah, like they that's what they did. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. I'm like, there's nothing I could do about it. Nothing you could do about it. So it's fine. But yeah, so I mean, the whole weekend was really good. We have some, like I said, we have some really awesome interviews coming for you. The one new thing that I love about that we have now from Caboose Jr., which I love him so much for, is we have this thing that comes across that says Toonami Faithful exclusive, ToonamiFaithful.com exclusive, which looks awesome on screen. So I do go and fap in the corner to that. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see the panel. I'm excited to see the exclusives we have for you, and I hope you guys like, because we did put a lot of hard work into what we did, and again, I hope you guys like what we did. And there is something possibly in the works. I can't really talk about it right now. We're in the early stages of it, but suffice to say, this probably won't be the last con you see us at. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I remember the last time you said, like, oh, we have a secret thing going on. It was the fucking Megas XLR 10-year reunion.
I tried to get you on. I'm
sorry. No. I'm just saying is that,
And then Jose 1 second said to me, bring him on because I can't be on. And then like an hour before, no, I'm going to be on. I'm like, oh, stop. Chris is going to kill me. Stop. So, yeah, I apologize about that.
No, but I'm just saying is that like when you have big announcements, I mean, they are fucking big announcements. So that's kind of, I wonder how else you're going to break my heart, Paul. But what else? So then you came home. Then because I was.
So basically, when I came home yesterday, I literally came home, took a shower to work.
That's the longest commute ever.
Yes. And what's what?
This day I was in Georgia. I ended this day at fucking work.
Yep. So it was a long day. It's a long fucking day. But again, I had a lot of fun this year at MomoCon. I think I had a lot more fun this year than I did last year, and it was just because of how, because we were stressed to the max, dude, last year. It was just, it was just the first year, so we didn't know what we were doing and everything. And by the way, a lot of people asked us about the live stream. I don't know if I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I will. We may talk about that on the other podcast, because a lot of people were kind of confused. Because what happened at MomoCon, Chris, just to explain real briefly, is if you were in a certain hall, they would live stream the panel. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously they put Toonami in the biggest hall so that, we could accommodate everybody, which, damn, did we accommodate everybody. And, there was I think people know now why we ripped it down, but there's a reason why. And we'll probably get into that once I know. I got to talk to Jose about it, and so that we can phrase it the right way, so you guys just so you understand what happened. But suffice to say, Friday night was interesting.
The night of.
By the way, shout out to Chad Bonin for hosting the panel. I love him. Apparently, Jose wants to have his baby, but I don't know.
Now, before the episode, you were talking about something that people were saying that you were Jason DeMarco's kid or something like that, or son, or something like that.
We were taking pictures at the Toonami party, and I've been putting pictures up all weekend, and all of a sudden, I think it was Sketch. I want to say it was Sketch that first said, "Oh, look, it's DeMarco's kid," something along those lines, and then all of a sudden, everybody started going with it. I'm like, oh god. I'm like, okay, it's bad enough that people think that ToonamiFaithful.com is Toonami. Now you want to make me DeMarco's son. I'm like, great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Fuck it. Run with it, man. That'd be
Dude, if he's giving me money, shit, I'll be... Hey, Jason, I'm your son. What's up? Oh, by the way, I need a new fucking car. I need to pay off my college loans, man. Can you help me out here? Dude, no. See, that's another thing. Like, people don't understand. Like, we don't mooch off of them at all. Mm-hmm. Like, if they choose to do something, they choose to do something. I have no control over, like, oh, well, we demanded this from them. No, I didn't fucking demand it. They came to us and said, hey, you want to put this up on your site? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, give me it.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously, when you get to like something like a Toonami Faithful, it's right there in the fucking name, Faithful. I mean, who else if you're putting out a product out there, why not cater to your fans?
I mean, I can understand why people are. It's like when we try to get donations. Well, I guess you can't say donations. When we try to get money for the site. A lot of people have this misunderstanding that it just goes into our pockets. And it doesn't, because, and I could go into detail about what it costs to do this. You know what I'm talking about. It's not cheap to do a podcast. Yeah. It's not cheap to run
server space, buying equipment.
Oh my god, it is so much money. And to actually have like a site like mine is really expensive.
Yeah, if you want a halfway decent fucking website, you got to.
So when I have people buy shirts, it's not to buy shirts just for the hell of it. It's to buy shirts so that way we can not only promote our podcast, but to, fund the podcast. podcast, fund the website, and do the things that we want to do, you know?
This money's for pussy and beer.
Because I think people misunderstand that it's very expensive to do these things. I mean, I paid for my airline ticket. That was like $387. Round trip, $387. That is fucking expensive.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's nice to go to Georgia, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that sounds a little bit
Chris,
high.
you want to go with us
than
next
what I
time?
would
You're saying?
Yeah, you know, shit, you're in Georgia. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not really my thing anymore. But I mean, like Georgia is like one besides like Las Vegas is like the strip club capital of the fucking United States. Like right
So you go
after
to
Las Vegas, it's like number 2. And like, I mean, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have gone and hang out with Tsunami people, but you know, I think the after party would have been at, you know, whatever, you know, ATL or whatever. You know, I want to see girls making their booty clap and you know, coming to the main stage is, you know,
clap.
make a booty clap. You know, coming to the main stage is Dynasty. Come on, guys, you know, bring out your dollars or whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I get what you're saying. You know, what I'm saying, yeah, if to do a podcast, I mean, it does cost money. It is a labor of love for all intents and purposes. It is a job. I mean, to keep your site updated, to keep the information fresh, to do new episodes. Is it fun? Yeah, but it's a fun job. It's like someone who works at a comic book company or someone who works for a place that, you know, a studio that makes movies or TV shows. Is it a fun job? Yes, it's a fun job, but it's still a job. And unfortunately, podcasting, not yet. You know, we don't get paid to do this. You know, and you know, if I could find a way to really monetize it, where like you and I would get paid, you know, that would be fucking awesome. I'd
one of
quit
these
my
days-
bullshit retail job in a heartbeat.
One of these days, dude, like we'll actually be able to do that kind of shit. But right now, you know, it is what it is.
But this is, you know what this is like when you're working up in the minor leagues, you know, like when you're
Right.
trying to, you know, this is that first step, because you know the
Oh.
show itself is over 2 years old, and honestly I had told my old co-host Kristen, and it kind of bothers me that she left before that, because I said I think once we hit about 2 years of doing the podcast, then we can make something out of it. And you know, with her leaving the show last year, and don't be wrong, I love her, and it was a totally amicable split or whatever, you know, whatever. What was that thing that Chris Martin and what's her face, Gwyneth Paltrow, like, you know, decoupling, a conscious decoupling, or whatever the hell they called it when they had a divorce. I mean, it was nothing negative about it, but it did take a lot of fucking you know, steam out of my engine. It took a lot of gas out of my tank when she left, because it was like, oh shit, the show's over. You know, and then, you know, and thankfully you came along, and you know, you and I are both on the same page. Like, we're gonna fucking make this thing work. So, I mean, did it reset the clock? Yeah, of course it reset the clock. But you know, because I think once you have about 2 years out there, and I've noticed a lot of all of the best well-known podcasts didn't really hit that hump until they hit 2 years. They were like putting out like 2 years worth of stuff before they started really like having a presence and stuff like that. So, and don't be wrong, we have wonderful fans from all over the fucking world, from Scotland, South America, you know, England, Canada, and of course the United States.
Yeah.
You know, and for whatever reason, I mean, we get much love on the West Coast. I mean, nothing against the East Coast. I mean, we're East Coast boys, but I don't know what it is about, because once again, our website, because our host Podomatic shows what you know, what stats and stuff like that, and it's just like right now I'm bringing up the page right now, and let me just bring up, you know, Seattle, Washington, because once again, it groups all the downloads to like the closest major cities, so it's not exactly, but I mean, Seattle, Washington, San Jose, California, Chicago. Okay, Chicago's number 3, but then it jumps right back to the West Coast. San Francisco, Minneapolis, Dallas, Houston, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Tampa, Florida, St. Paul, Minnesota. I mean, we're getting love from all over the country also. I mean, of course, we have global downloads, but, you know, of course, local downloads are great also. And, you know, and we do have loyal listeners, and I appreciate you guys and people that interact with us on Twitter. And you guys are awesome. You guys are so fucking awesome. And it just blows my mind that, you know, one day this is going to be something where we can kind of sit back and be like, yep, I made that shit. I made this.
Exactly. That's what I'm not like that, but I'm just humbled by how big the site has become and how big the podcast has become, because, you know, because of that, certain opportunities are coming into our horizon now. So I'm hoping that this is the year where all of a sudden we take another explosion and something unexpected happens. So, but
Take another explosion in your mouth. I'm sorry.
oh, God.
That's what she said.
All right, I think we need to go to a commercial break.
Yeah, we were about to hit that.
On that note.
mark. So we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. You know what? There's a party in your mouth and everybody's coming. Well, let's get to my notes. Damn it. I have all these notes that I sit and I make sure I get all nice and proper. And then by the time we're
going to, this first one.
Touch my notes. Touch my nuts? What? I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Chris texted me today, and instead of saying to me, hey, let's do the podcast, his exact quote to me was, "I'm just sitting here scratching my balls." Sitting here going, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, you miss me that much? Do you want me to?
Today was just a lazy day. Of course, I should be cleaning my apartment.
Do you want me to touch your balls? Is that what's going on?
No,
I don't want to cheat on Darrell because Darrell might come after me.
No, I'm scratching my own nuts.
And then he might try to cut me, and I don't want that.
When I get bored, I scratch my nuts. Well, you know what it was, and this is gonna sound okay. When I was a kid, my dad kids always kind of do stupid shit. You always you tell a kid not to do something, and the first thing the kid does is do the thing you just told them not to do. So, and I swear to God, this is a line from my dad. Whenever me and my brother would be playing, if we touch something we're not supposed to touch, my father goes, "If you want to touch something, touch your balls." And so, of course, by nowadays standards, I mean, people would probably tell lock up my dad and throw him in fucking, child protective services would have been called or anything like that. But I didn't take it that seriously. I mean, it was just kind of funny. So I kind of associate, when you're not doing anything, if someone says, if someone goes, if I'm at work and someone goes, "Oh, how come you didn't call me?" I didn't say, "Well, it's not like I'm sitting around scratching my balls." That's kind of my word for scratching my balls is kind of me not doing anything. When you're kind of just sitting there watching TV and you kind of have your hand down the pants, Al Bundy style, maybe a little deeper than Al Bundy. You sit there and you scratch your balls. So to me, whenever
there's that sexy Brooklyn accent. I'm sorry, what?
Scratching your balls, I'm saying you got to move those around, give them some fucking air.
Okay.
So I'm not sitting around scratching my balls over here,
So speaking of court, apparently Warner Brothers wants to take Batman and Superman to court.
Say what?
Yes.
That's new. Enlighten me, brother. I have no idea what's going on. What's that all about?
Well, they named the new Batman movie, or the new Superman movie, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Ugh.
Yes.
Oh, I hate that.
And I was going to say, you probably hate that fucking name.
like, now of course I understand. Obviously, look, the one thing that nerds around the world wanted was for this movie to be called Batman and Superman World's Finest, or just called World's Finest, or whatever the case may be. But of course, this movie is going to, it's in the fucking title now, Batman versus Superman. They're not World's Finest, because when they're World's Finest, that means they've teamed up. But really, Dawn of Justice, really, of all the creative minds out there, that, people that work for comic book companies, people who work for movie companies, that's the best name you can fucking give it. I'm tired of, and I made a post about this earlier on Facebook, about I'm sick and tired of sequels with the word "of" in the middle. And just give me a second. I sat there and I made this line. I've made this post. It took me a while. Look, a little research. Okay, Dawn of Justice, Age of Ultron, Age of Extinction, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Days of Future Past, Temple of Doom, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, Army of Darkness, Wrath of Khan, Rise of the Machines. Now we got double ofs. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and of course, my most favorite, The Rise of Taj. That was the Van Wilder Part 2. But all these fucking sequels with "of" in the middle. And like this, and it was just that stupid naming of Dawn of Justice that kind of like inspired that post, because it's the most unenlightened, stupid, not cryptic, that's not the right word, but just like, really, of all the fucking names you could have called it, Dawn of Justice, I not for nothing, I would have been happy with Batman versus Superman, even though, and it's not even versus, it's Batman v Superman, like it's a fucking court case, like Roe versus Wade or whatever. I stole that line from Kevin Smith, but I mean, I thought that when I first saw it. Also, I'm like, Batman v Superman, like, is this a courtroom drama? Is this like A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. Yeah, it was just, I am not happy with Dawn of Justice. That's okay.
So you're not happy with Dawn of Justice?
I don't. It fucking gives me an irritable bowel. I have to squeeze out a shit when I hear that fucking Dawn of Justice. Because then the next movie is going to be called Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now whenever we talk about those movies, we're going to say Dawn of Justice and Justice League. Like, you got Justice in there, and then Dawn. That's so fucking, that's like with Rise, the Rise of the Silver Surfer. Like I said, in international markets, the Super Spider, the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, my cat agrees with me. Well, he wants to get on my lap, and I'm not letting him. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You ain't getting on my lap, pussy. The Amazing Spider-Man Part 2 in other countries other than the United States was called The Rise of Electro. And like, is it really the Rise of Electro?
Not really, because it's not in the U.S. So
yeah, but I'm saying, but then he gets, if it was a character that's going to stay in the series, like, okay, like back even like with Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, really, apparently he wasn't in. Well, they didn't even make a Part 3, but saying like Electro isn't going to be in the Amazing Spider-Man 3, or at least I think so. I mean, like when you put a rise of a character, that sounds like something that's gonna bring on,
that's gonna rise out of your pants.
Yeah. It does the opposite. It makes the fucking rise, the fucking falling of the tent in my pants. It's just such an uninspired, whenever you say Rise of, just bothers me. Or Dawn of, unless it's a Dawn of the Dead movie, but because they've been doing that shit for fucking 30 years, 40 years, so you can't fault them. It's just, really, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, is just, bothers the shit out. And speaking of things that bother the shit out of me, and Edgar Wright, the director behind Scott Pilgrim and Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, has announced, I guess, creative differences with Marvel, and has left the Ant-Man pre-production or whatever. I mean,
I saw that.
There's been even, and actually it's been like officially put out by Marvel, that like test footage of Ant-Man like fighting the guys in like the hallway. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, there's this test footage which at first was like showed at a con, but I've actually seen it on the Marvel site, where it's Ant-Man. Now, the character itself, it's obviously like a stunt man or whatever because you don't see his face. He's wearing a helmet. But like he gets like what happens is the coolest part in the trailer or the little teaser test footage that they made. It's that the guy is shooting. He's pointing a gun at Ant-Man. Ant-Man shrinks down to the size of an ant or whatever. And I'm assuming that in this movie or in this universe, he still has the mass equivalent that he has, even though he's shrunken down. And you see him running up the top of the gun. You know, so you got this cool footage of like this little shrunken guy running up, and then jumps from the gun and kicks the guy in the face. Now, of course, when it pulls out and the guy in the face, you know,
pulls out and puts it in the guy in the face. I'm sorry. That's what she said.
I mean, you see the guy, like, it looks like he's getting kicked, but obviously, since we're not that close anymore, we don't, you know, it's kind of like he's getting an imaginary kick. But, you know, we're supposed to understand that, you know, Ant-Man is the size of an ant kicking this guy in his face. And that's part of his fighting style, getting big and getting small, getting big, getting small. You know, he fights these guys kind of like using that as a fighting tactic, which is something we've never seen in any movie. And it's such a cool concept. And now, you know, from what I understand, you know, Edgar Wright has been tied to this movie for at least 3 to 4 years. And you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of it was tied up with him. So with him leaving, I'm kind of wondering, like, are they going to have to start from scratch? Like, is he, with him leaving, does that mean he's taking all his little bells and whistles that he brought with him? You know, and if so, that's like putting a major dent in the Marvel. You know, Marvel has this big overall arc that they want to follow. You know, that's going to cause major ripples. You know, you can't just throw a director in there right now and say, "Hey, do the job." You can't rush it. You know, I mean, it's just
apparently that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know the story just yet. I mean, he has said creative differences. I mean, obviously, you know, Edgar Wright, when he makes these movies, I mean, he made the Scott Pilgrim movies, and that was a property that belonged to somebody else. But you know, when he made like Hot Fuzz he was part of the TV show Spaced, was also with the guy from Shaun of the Dead, and when he made Hot Fuzz, I mean, these are all movies that were, you know, movies and TV shows that kind of were very, very skewed. You know, it was very much his world. And I wonder if maybe, you know, him working for a major studio, because I think when he did Scott Pilgrim, I mean, it wasn't like a major studio. You know, it was kind of like, you know, for all intents and purposes, it was an indie movie with a big budget. And, you know, so he was able to have the freedom that he usually has. And he, in my opinion, and, you know, once again, I'm kind of stealing a little bit from Kevin Smith, you know, he probably felt constricted under Marvel's blanket because Marvel obviously has a vision for all these movies. They're all supposed to fit together like a puzzle. But it bothers me because that means, you know, I'm pretty sure that means that Ant-Man is going to be delayed. And, you know, if they rush it, then you're going to, you know, I don't want them to put out a shitty product, you know, so.
So are you going to start crying?
I'm going to cry, man. No, well, I mean, it's just saying, you know, it's, you know, I had such high hopes and, you know, and then plus, you know, whoever gets the job next, you know, whoever, you know, person that this, you know, falls into the lap. I mean, you know, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. I mean, of course, yeah, it's a first world problem, but, you know, there's all this expectation, you know what I'm saying? And nobody's going to be good enough. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, I mean, even if Ant-Man turns out to be, you know, the next fucking Iron Man where, you know, becomes this big phenomenon, you know, they're still going to have that, oh, well, you only got that job because Edgar Wright threw it away. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody else's sloppy seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of, you know, it hurts me. It hurts me in a way. Of course, you know, this should be, you know, I should be more worried about, you know, death and destruction and pestilence and disease. But, you know, I'm kind of pissed off that Edgar Wright left the Ant-Man project. And so, you know, kind of staying with that, with, you know, Marvel, Hugh Jackman, you know, star of, you know, pretty much every X-Men movie except for Days of Future Past, has said that, you know, he's contractually obligated to do X-Men Apocalypse, which, I don't know, spoiler alert, I guess was kind of teased at the end of Days of Future Past. Oh no, what did I say? I said Wolverine was a star of every movie except for X-Men First Class, not X-Men Days of Future Past. But, you know, long story short, they kind of teased X-Men Apocalypse in the post-credit scene. Spoiler, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's really a spoiler because everyone was kind of expecting it anyway. But so they basically asked them, well, what's next? You know, is there going to be another, you know, Wolverine movie? Is there going to? And I think is going to be another Wolverine movie, but he had basically said, I want the companies to put their fucking troubles aside, put their differences aside, and of course he's a little being self-important. He wants to be part of a thriving franchise. He wants Wolverine to go and join the Avengers, which, at one point Wolverine was a part of the Avengers from the comics. So, I mean, is it a little bit of self-interest? Yeah. But a guy like Hugh Jackman has the pull. I mean, like I said, besides X-Men First Class, he was the star of every one of the other X-Men movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was always the one on the posters. He's the only one he got 2 spin-off movies, with the speculation of doing a third one. I think if anybody can make the transition to make the studios go, hey, maybe we should do this, it would be him. You know what I'm saying? He's carried the whole franchise on his shoulders before. And not that the movies are bad or anything like that, but, I would love to see it. And if it does, it would definitely set a precedent where, who knows, maybe one day we could see a Spider-Man. So you can have Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Avengers, which is a little more closer to, the more classical lineup of the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's at some point, people are going to have their voices heard loud enough where it's going to happen. But here's the problem. Can Disney, Fox, and Sony get along in one movie?
I mean, money talks. Yeah. I think, because there's all types of crazy rights. Like when I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember, like, all these movies, like Marvel, like when it comes to like the movies, like Fox, like when you take the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, X-Men only has, Fox only has investment in the X-Men movies, meaning that, if the movies are made. Now, let's just say hypothetically after X-Men Apocalypse, if hopefully it does get made, but let's just say, they go, oh, we're going to reboot the franchise, or, like everything else, or like there's no more money to be made in the X-Men, which I find hard to believe, but let's just say that day does happen, because as the movies come out, the law of diminishing returns. I mean, these movies are making less and less money each time they come out, each sequel. So if Disney were to say, look, you guys are going to go your own way with the next X-Men movie, like they did with Fantastic Four, where they kind of just start all over again. Let's get Wolverine. But then, actually, now that I think about it, no, probably wouldn't, because, if they do reboot the X-Men, they probably will still have Wolverine as the main draw. But I don't know. There's so many, I think, like, if, Disney has the money. I mean, shit, they bought Star Wars, for Christ's sake. If Disney just says, look, boom, here's a big fat fucking check. We want the rights to Wolverine, whatever rights you had, and then, I mean, that's just easy money, because the X-Men movies, they could reboot them anyway, right. I mean, I wonder if they could, and they put out enough movies where they can technically reboot the X-Men without Wolverine and still, I think, have a viable franchise. But of course, that's just me being a person that is not in the business and totally talking out of my ass.
And by the way, we have to understand, like, for example, X-Men isn't doing as well as what it's supposed to be doing right now. But here's the thing, like, this weekend was,
Memorial Day weekend. I mean,
it was a holiday weekend, and it was nice out.
The summer.
Right, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be, X-Men next week is going to be just huge. Seriously. It's going to be busy, so...
Because it's out? No, it's not out. It's out, right? Days of Future Past?
Yeah, Days of Future Past is out right now, but it's going to get busy next week, because obviously, everybody's going to want to see it, and it's not the holiday weekend.
Yeah, people this weekend were too busy, going to parades and barbecues and stuff like that. So, and it was nice outside. I actually left my house to go to Taco Bell, and then I actually left my house. Isn't that weird? And,
right.
Now, speaking of blockbuster Memorial Day movies, one that's been out for the past week or so, Godzilla. And the thing that's hurting me, and I say hurt, I mean, I guess, it just bothers me because, had I been like 10 years old, the 36-year-old me go back and tell myself at 10, in the summer of 2014, you're going to see there's going to be a Transformers movie, an X-Men movie, a Godzilla movie, a Spider-Man movie, Planet of the Apes. If I went back and told my 10-year-old self all this, my head would have fucking exploded. But then you actually come to the time where we have the technology and we have, incredible special effects. And of course, I haven't seen Godzilla yet, but you know, the vibe that I'm getting from people online is that Godzilla is like, you know, and I don't even think this is a spoiler. It's like you don't really even see Godzilla until like an hour and 20 minutes into the movie, you know. And then when you finally do see Godzilla, he's like in the movie for like 20 minutes. And you know, I guess like even the beginning, it's like all like glimpses, where there's like literally scenes where there's like a cameraman filming a reporter, and even the reporter is like, it's not, they're talking about the action. And, you know, and I understand that, you know, I mean, back in the day, you got a little bit more with your imagination because they didn't have the technology and they didn't have, you know, so, you know, you dreamt up a better fight in your head than they could ever put on film. You know, I kind of get that, like a little mysterious and they're giving just little glimpses of the monster. But, you know, we're at a day where we got computer technology. We can fucking have Godzilla tap dancing in fucking Tokyo. And you know, these people still choose to make the movie, you know, an hour and a half about people that I don't care about. I don't, you know, Bryan Cranston is an incredible actor. I don't care about him. You know, I believe it's the kid from Kick-Ass who's in this movie, but like he's buffed out and he's hit the gym and he's put on, you know, 100 pounds of pure muscle or whatever. You know, he's in this movie and the movie's all about him. I don't care about him. The movie's called Godzilla, not the guy from Kick-Ass. You know, if I wanted to see the guy from Kick-Ass, I'd watch Kick-Ass. You know, so it's just like, it kind of bothers me that, you know, and then you get this great name like Bryan Cranston, which once again, spoiler alert, and it's not really a spoiler, but you know, people have said Bryan Cranston's like in the movie for like 20 minutes. And it's like, I don't, you know, if I was watching Breaking Bad and then it suddenly turned into a whole TV show about a giant lizard destroying Tokyo, I'd be upset because I want to see Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad. I don't want to see Godzilla. But when I'm seeing Godzilla, I don't want to see Bryan Cranston. You know, I just, you know, it just like, we've had these incredible opportunities. And then everyone's like, oh, the sequel. No, fuck the sequel. I want to see it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, get it right the first time. I don't want to have to go, oh, we'll wait for it. We'll see more Godzilla in a sequel. No, fuck that. Do it right. Do it right the first time. Because if you don't do it right the first time, there isn't going to be a sequel.
Right.
You know? I don't know.
I agree with that.
You know, don't play with me and then
well, they already announced there's going to be another one, so it actually did well. So
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a ploy on their behalf. Like, oh, maybe if we only show Godzilla a little bit, you know, tease the audiences into, you know, letting there be a part 2. Which is very much a possibility in this day and age of people making money. But you know, if that's how you're thinking, you're doing it for the wrong fucking reasons. And I'd rather you not make a Godzilla movie than make a bad Godzilla movie. Hence the friggin' Matthew Broderick 1998 version.
Right.
Okay. And a moment ago, I mentioned Star Wars. Lucasfilm has pretty much announced that there is going to be a Star Wars movie every year for at least the next 5 years, which makes me very, very happy. And, you know, the way they've announced it is in 2015, it's going to be episode 7. 2016, it's going to be one of those spin-off movies. You know, they've announced 3, you know, Star Wars movies, you know, Star Wars proper canon movies, and then 2 spin-offs. So the first one, you know, so 2015, Star Wars 7. 2016, spin-off movie, which of course everyone is speculating is going to be a Boba Fett movie, which if so, it would be fucking awesome. You know, 2017, Star Wars Episode 8. 2018 will be the next spin-off movie, which people are still speculating what it's going to be about. And then 2019, Star Wars Episode 6, which, like, you know, being a person that grew up watching Star Wars and you know, was kind of very disappointed by the sequels, you know, makes me very excited. You know, I mean, as my daughter gets older and I raise her into this nerdy world, you know, I look forward to, like, her being 4, 5, and 6, because that's when I got exposed to fucking Star Wars. You know, I saw, you know, Return of the Jedi in theaters, you know, in 1983, and I was 6 years old, you know, so, you know, so 30 years from even now, she'll be talking about seeing Star Wars when she was a kid. That's sad. I hope I don't want to curse my daughter with that kind of a fate. No, don't be a nerd, baby. No, that's horrible. Of course, be a nerd. Enjoy your life. Okay, what else? Okay, David S. Goyer, writer for several comic book movies, and I even looked them up online just to make sure I got everything correct. David S. Goyer. Now, this is a guy who's written for The Crow, City of Angels, which is The Crow Part 2. The Nick Fury TV show, Blade, one of the first movies that kind of like started this whole new wave of superhero movies. Blade 2, Blade Trinity, Batman Begins, Blade the TV series. He wrote a segment in Batman the Gotham Knight, which was the cartoon series in between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and he has more credits, but I'm just mentioning all the comic book ones. Man of Steel, and he's the Constantine TV show that's coming out, and he's going to be writing the Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice and the Justice League. So, I mean, here's a guy who has deep roots in these movies. And I listened to the podcast. I believe it's called Script Notes was the name of the podcast, and it was obviously like a show more directed towards people that want to write for Hollywood and stuff like that. And this particular episode was about writers in Hollywood writing about comic book movies. And so, obviously, you bring a guy like David S. Goyer on, who is obviously very well versed in the movies, and he had said some controversial comments saying that the She-Hulk was basically a porno star for the Hulk to fuck, and but people who actually read the comics know that She-Hulk is actually the cousin of the Incredible Hulk. And then he had said that Martian Manhunter it's a stupid name and not a character that he thinks would make money like in the movies and stuff like that. And it just I mean, when we have like Guardians of the Galaxy coming out later this year, which is about a fucking a raccoon that carries guns and a walking tree. I mean, I think if you make it correctly, you can make a movie about damn near anything. And so for him to say some stupid shit like, Martian Manhunter isn't a viable, and of course, yeah, you would have to kind of introduce Martian Manhunter. I mean, shit. I mean, nowadays, now that we have this Justice League movie, you could easily introduce him into that and then take it and make it its own franchise. I mean, are there other franchises that I feel deserve a shot before Martian Manhunter? Yeah, of course. First being Wonder Woman. But, I mean, just the fact that he says something like that, just, how does a guy like this with that much, pull and power say some dumb shit like that? But then again, maybe he was just saying it to, to entertain the audience. I'm not really here scratching my balls, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm saying that just to get a rise out of our listeners. What else? Okay, I just thought it was funny that George R.R. Martin, the guy who's written all the Game of Thrones books, and just looking at these books, I mean, I haven't read them. Of course, I do watch Game of Thrones. I mean, these books are fucking thick. I mean, you could kill somebody if you hit them over the head. Apparently, he writes these books on an old like 1980s computer that's like still uses DOS, and he has like this program that's his favorite. Which being a guy, anyone who listens to this show, you constantly hear the ad for my novel. I wrote my first two novels, as a matter of fact, on a crappy computer that doesn't have the internet, because the internet if you're trying to write and you go to look up something on the internet, you could get sucked into it for fucking, you go to just look up one thing and all of a sudden, an hour and a half later, like, oh shit, I just wasted an hour and a half looking at fucking YouTube videos, cat videos.
Done that before. Well, not cat videos, but I've done that before.
So let me see. Let's and just I just thought it was kind of a funny. Once again, a friend of mine. I had mentioned our last episode that there was a theory that the robot arm from the Iron Man movies will somehow be involved. Well, this is a fan theory that will somehow be evolving into Ultron in the next Avengers movie. Now, I guess from another Reddit theory is that Obadiah Stane, the main character played by what's his face, the Big Lebowski, whatever the hell his name is, in Iron Man 1, Ironmonger. These people like quote like lines like how he might have been a member of Hydra, now that after Captain America, with all these reveals of characters that were secretly Hydra or whatever, which I thought was an interesting theory and just something I just wanted to bring up on the show. Holy shit, I mean, there should be more to our lives than this fucking nerdy shit, but that's what we do, and hopefully you guys are entertained by it.
I hope.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before
no, not really. I mean, I'm slowly getting back to myself again, as everybody can see. So, just thanks for all the support. Thanks for the support at MomoCon. Thanks for the support, online. It really, really helps. And, I'm seeing where life's going to go at this moment. So hopefully everything will turn out well.
Awesome. I myself am getting back out there on the field or whatever, and
nobody gives a shit about you. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, it's things. I don't know. May is always a good month for me, even though it's like May is almost over. May is always a good month for me for some reason. I don't know if it's like now that spring and summer kind of starts. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But please visit 2s1p.com, which is our website where you can find all things show related. I don't know how you found this show. Maybe you saw us on Twitter, or you heard us mention on the Toonami Faithful podcast, or maybe a friend, a very good friend of yours, has recommended, hey, you should listen to this show. They're awesome.
Or maybe somebody mentioned that we have this podcast at a con.
Yeah. And however you got to this podcast, if you want more links, and of course, thank you to our more loyal listeners who've been here for a long time. I love you guys. I can't even thank you enough.
If we could make out with every one of you, we would.
I would. Yeah. If you guys come to fucking Florida, if you guys come to Rochester, you know what it is? I was looking where our downloads are from. If I probably will make out with anybody that will allow me to make out with them. That being said, please visit 2s1p.com where you can find everything show related. You can find links to my book, Double Jackpot. Holy shit! How did I? Which right now my official site for the book, doublejackpot.us, is actually down right now because I got fucked by GoDaddy again, and so I gotta pay their fucking ridiculous prices to get the site back up again. But you can find it on lulu.com. Just search for Double Jackpot by Chris Colon, ChrisColon. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/2strangers1podcast, all spelled out. Like I said, so we were talking about earlier about funding and money and stuff like that. Even if you don't have a dime to give to the show, it takes 2 seconds to share on your page.
Just hit the fucking share button.
Yeah, this episode or the page in and of itself. You can say, look, these guys are funny, they're hilarious, they crack us up. They're into all types of nerdy shit that I'm into. Give it give them a listen. So once again, even if you don't have a dime to give to the show, just share us on Facebook. If you want to send us an email, and I'm just double checking our email as I say this, you can write us at, once again, this is all spelled out, 2strangers1podcast @gmail.com. Feel free to kind of hit us up with any kind of thing. Do you got a Kickstarter you want to promote? Do you got something you want us to talk about? Even if you want to just drop us a line, I love your show, you guys are funny. I want to see Chris. I want to see Chris's dick or something like that. Hey, it's email, so it's private. So there's no one underage. I'm not getting in trouble for that shit. But you can write us at 2strangers1podcast, all spelled out, @gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast, the little @ symbol, Stranger Podcast. And I think that's pretty much. Oh no, of course you could find us on iTunes. If somehow you got this episode and I would like to hear more of 2 Strangers 1 Podcast, and you're new to the show, you could find us on iTunes at just go to iTunes, just click on the upper right tab, not the most upper right tab, it's one over the podcast tab, and search for 2 Strangers 1 Podcast. Rochester accent. You can download every single episode. This show is over 2 years old. You can say, hey, what the hell was Chris doing 2 years ago today? You can go back and listen to it and listen to our old co-host, Kristen. She was more of the what's the word? She was more into Hollywood and stuff like that, and keeping up with the Kardashians and stuff like that. And we'd goof on that. And I was always the comic book guy. So if you just want to get a taste of where the show has been, and of course you hear knows where we're going, you could download 2 years worth of fucking, and by my math alone, we're at episode 153 or something like that, well over 150 hours of 2 Strangers 1 Podcast, just me talking, goddammit. And it's a record of my life. So in case I fucking get hit by a bus tomorrow, you could don't play this to my daughter until she gets over 18, but say, look, this is what your daddy had to say, even though he just talked about fucking comic book movies. It was stuff that was important to me. It's a record, goddammit, of my life. And of course Paul's life also. I'm not cutting you. I'm just saying, I'm being a little selfish right now.
You are being selfish.
And if you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, iPod, you don't like using iTunes, you feel a little constricted by the man, you feel Steve Jobs' ghost is visiting you when you sleep, and you're scared of Apple devices, you can find us on the Stitcher app. If you have an Android device, STITCHER, you can find us on the Stitcher app and search for, once again, 2 Strangers 1 Podcast. If you favorite our show, pretty much every time a new episode gets released, it goes right to your device. Most people listen off their phones or whatever. So, and the cool thing is you don't even have to waste your data. If you're at home and you're on your Wi-Fi network, while you're home, you could download episodes of 2 Strangers 1 Podcast onto your phone. And while you're out driving your car, you don't have to waste your data. if you pay for data like I do, because I have AT&T, and you don't want to use up your data while you're home, while you're in a Wi-Fi spot, while you stop off at a McDonald's and grab yourself, a McDouble or whatever. While you're there, you could download episodes of Two Strangers One Podcast, or the Toonami Faithful, or any other podcast worth listening to, like Mark Maron's podcast, Adam Carolla, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist. Any podcast worth listening to is on Stitcher. You could download them while you're in a Wi-Fi spot, and then while you're out during the course during your day and don't have to kill the battery on your phone, you could download and listen to those episodes offline. I think it's an awesome feature. Of course, the only thing with Stitcher is you're only going to get our most recent 6 episodes, but I mean, really, yeah, you could go back and listen to what I was saying about 2 years ago, but I mean, what is there to listen to? Me saying can't wait for the Avengers, and then you hear me saying I like the Avengers. I mean, no big fucking surprise there. So that's about it. I can't think of anything else. We ask the floor to you, sir.
All right, well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pescrillo. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. You can also find me on Tumblr, which I put up a somber little thing on Tumblr today, paulpescrillo.tumblr.com. And you can also, obviously, email me at, you should email us because you forgot to say that. twostrangersonePodcast@gmail.com. You can
I did say that, sir. It's on record.
Did you? Did you? Oh, then I must have.
You don't
not
even
been paying
listen to that,
attention.
Tim.
I'm sorry. But I mean, you can email me, paulpescrillo@toonamifaithful.com, and I will try to respond. And we want to hear about if you like the podcast, if we suck, if you want Chris to give me a blowjob, whatever. Or you want me to?
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know if they'll let me give you a blowjob, but.
Yeah, that's about it for me. Oh, and for those of you looking for the Toonami panel, that will be out soon.
Yeah, check it out. Big things, as they say, going on behind the scenes at Two Strangers One Podcast. Big things going on behind the scenes at the Toonami Faithful Podcast, and of course your website Geeky Inc. GeeKeinc, Geeky Inc. Nerdcore Absolution. I can't believe you forgot about your own CD that can be promoted on. You just can find all the links. It's on Bandcamp, Nerdcore Absolution Volume 2. In a minute, you'll be hearing the commercial for my book. So once again, those are things that do kind of go and support the show. Even though it's not directly related to the show, I mean, the money goes to support things. It's been a while since I sold a copy of my book. It has been, it's like, I mean, friends and family were pretty awesome, but, I mean, it'd be nice if more strangers would buy it, but that'd be awesome. So once again, all that stuff goes to support the show. We certainly hope you guys had enough fun and enjoyed it we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin, that's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15 is not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I
and
will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.